Hello everyone, this is Sidereal and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've got another video for you guys today. I will be drawing a character reference sheet for my character from the Project Gate universe. His name is Kai. So I jumped right into the video for this one just because we got a lot of ground to cover, so I wanted to just get right into it. And I'm starting off, of course, with my pink sketchy sketch here. For this reference sheet, I wanted to do two different outfits with a underwear layer so that I could use it as like a you know, base that I could just draw the clothes on top of. And I also wanted to include some expressions here. I think when I look at character reference sheets, for me, what I want to see is like, what does the character look like when they are doing like, a heavy emo, and then maybe kind of a stylized sort of expression. So that's what I've got here. I've got three kind of progressively different expressions going on. If you were on Art YouTube back in the day, you probably have seen that Lavender Town video where she basically explains how to do a shortcut for a character turnaround, which is when you copy the front-facing image, flip it, and then erase the inside parts and kind of fill in the gaps with what the back of the character looks like. And the reason you would do that is to just, keep all the parts kind of the where they're supposed to be and also the same size. And we're moving right along now. I'm doing my second sketch layer just because I wanted to make it easier for me to know where everything was going. The character in this one is, as I mentioned earlier, Kai, and he is an interesting character because I kind of created him to be a foil to another character in Project Gate, Bowie. So Kai's story is a little bit different from him, unlike Bowie, who is kind of put in a situation by happenstance. Kai ends up in the situation because of the choices that he makes. Um, but yeah, in the story that I'm working on for him, there are sequences where there's like flashbacks where he is in his Project Gate military uniform, and then in the present time where he is wearing a different outfit, which is basically his outfit for when he's at the palace, which is, Saros's clubhouse on the frontier. Okay. Yeah, I'm now working on those expressions. Part of his story is that he has these moments where he kind of goes a little crazy, and I think that's like a fun character trait to like explore. I do think that there are ways you can do it in which it doesn't make a lot of sense and it kind of hurts the characters. For Kai in particular, what he when he goes kind of like sicko mode, when he goes a little bit crazy, it's because he has something called space sickness. In the Project Gate universe, space sickness is essentially like you lose your touch of with reality. It's like when you are in a cave for a long period of time or in a confined space and you kind of start, seeing things and you go a little bit crazy. That's kind of what the idea of space sickness is. It typically only impacts humans, and it unfortunately impacted Kai. That's relevant to the story later and how he ends up with Saros. But yeah, now I'm doing the line art for the base layer here. Um, I feel like recently I've had a little bit of trouble getting my proportions correct. I think it's just because I've always had a problem where I draw the character's head a little bit too big and the arms a little bit too long. I don't know. I've never been able to get it quite right. I think I'm getting better at it, but I don't know. I still feel like it's not as good as it could be. And also on this side profile, I think I mentioned before, I really struggle with drawing side profiles. I don't know what it is. I feel like I make the eyes a little too small and the nose a little too big, and it doesn't look as, maybe it's just because I'm not used to like looking at the side of somebody's face for too long. I don't know. Also, these shoes. I gave him like these vans, these like white van situations. I don't think I'm going to keep them. I did draw another outfit that I want to put him in, and I'll probably like just post it at the end of this video because I didn't record any of it. Where I gave him these like tabby shoes, which are the shoes where it's got like the toe separated from like the big toe separated from the rest of the toes. And I felt like that was like a little bit more sci-fi and a little bit more accurate to what I wanted for the style in universe. But yeah, these shoes definitely not going to stay in my mind. But I had been working on this particular piece for so long. It took me like 4 hours just to do a very simple like three outfits situation, and I'm so tired. I didn't want to keep working on it, so that's where we're at right now. Um, yeah, I also because I had decided to draw the robe outfit, I guess, for the turnaround, I wanted to do that one first. I mess around with this bow for a little bit. It takes me too long. I get annoyed and I erase it, blah blah blah, whatever. I think one of the pitfalls of drawing a base layer to draw your clothes on top of for like reference sheets like this is for me, I get really distracted by the line art underneath, and it's really hard for me to figure out where the stuff goes on top of it. So that's just something maybe you would want to keep in mind if you also want to create a character ref sheet of your own. But yeah, I'm going in with that line art right now. This video is moving pretty fast. I had done different versions of it where I slowed it down to different degrees, and it was just too long for me to keep it all like to keep it in a more long form video, and I just didn't have as much to say for it. So we're going pretty fast here. And now I'm working on that military uniform. I created this particular uniform at the very beginning of working on my webcomic. And immediately after I decided, yes, this is the one, I realized that I was going to have to draw it over and over and over again. And it was really complicated to draw it over and over and over again. I really don't know how people are able to create really complicated outfits for their characters and then just, you know, consistently draw them within their comics. I think that it's really difficult. But I had liked this particular uniform so much that I was like, well, I can't change it. I like it a lot. So my workaround was to put the characters in ponchos. When in doubt, put your character in a poncho, and I feel like it fits the space, whatever, so it's fine. Another thing about this uniform is within the so how I have the Project Gate military set up is there are battalions, there's battalions 1 through 24. And within each battalion, there is an admiral, which is a dev, and a general, which is a dev. And then there are 12 squads. So, each of these squads has, sorry, I like blanked for a second there. I was like, what was I saying? Anyways, each of the squads have a designated color. For example, Bowie is a member of Squad 2. Squad two's color is orange. For Kai, he is a member of Squad 1, and I didn't know if I wanted to make Squad 1 like a gray or a white or red. So I ended up settling on red. It's not going to be in this video. It's going to be at the end when I show you guys like the finished piece, but yeah, in order to like designate who each of the characters are, that's how I did it. Um, Another thing about the uniforms is the specifically for like the squads, for example, there is going to be within the battalions there is the admiral and the general, and then in the squads there is a captain and then a lieutenant and then a like lieutenant, and then there's the rest of the members of the squad. The captain and the lieutenant are going to be wearing like a black uniform instead of like this camo situation. So just to keep them just to make it easier for you to tell who's who, if that makes sense. It's a little bit more challenging to tell who is the admiral and who is the general of the battalion, but I think I make it pretty nice and easy for the rest of the characters. Now I'm going in with the line art for these expressions. I don't love how I made Kai's face look in the second one here. I just don't think I would ever be able to capture the how cute I was able to get his face to look in the sketch. So I'm really attached to that sketch, but this is fine for now. And the reason I wanted to do this kind of like I don't know how you would call it. I know it's a thing that like a lot of manga artists and anime art like people do, where they have this like super stylized character like expression for like, you know, moments of high tension or moments that are supposed to be funny and slapstick. And I wanted to try and make an expression like that for this rush sheet. But I don't know. I don't know if I like it so much or if I should keep fussing around with it. And now I'm going into the coloring for these. So like usual, I'm just gonna do my like flat skin tone and then I'm just gonna put all the other colors on top of it, you know, fill in all the white so that there's none of that peeking out. I don't end up coloring the expression separately, but I think it's fine. Oh, I redraw these legs. Yeah. For some reason, they were looking kind of thick. I also struggled so hard with these feet in particular. I could not get them to look right. And I think it's just because it's an angle that I don't normally draw, but I don't know. Mess around with that for a little bit, and then we're gonna color in the rest of the characters. I think that with these videos, I struggle a little bit to come up with different concepts, and it's kind of like my art. Usually, when I do a video, it's just because, oh, well, maybe I'll record this one and maybe I'll have something to say. And this was one of those situations where I was like, oh, well, it could be interesting for people to see and watch. Maybe they'll get something out of it. So, we're coming up on the end here. We only got a few minutes left, but oh yeah, when I was coming up with Kai's character design, something that I really wanted to do was make him look distinct from Bowie. Part of that, I want them to be foils of each other situation. So I give him darker hair, I give him freckles. I suppose there are like other ways that I could have really pushed the difference, but I think I have a few character archetypes that I tend to gravitate towards, like design archetypes that I tend to gravitate towards. So I didn't want to like fall back on those, which is why he ends up looking the way he does. I did give him heterochromia. I know some people might think that's cringe. I don't care. Cringe is dead. And I think that I don't know, I wanted him to look like a husky. Like if Bowie is a, you know, golden retriever type character, I wanted Kai to be more of a husky, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't, but I don't care. And then you get to see why I was like, I can't keep drawing these military uniforms. I have to put them in ponchos because why is it so complicated? And then this is where I was like, oh yeah, maybe I'll make his character details white instead of red. Do put in some of that, some of those good old Procreate, you know, preset brushes. Color in this uniform. For a second, I think we're going to come up on it here pretty soon, but I did lose a little bit of footage for this one. It's just because I was recording for so long. And I wasn't able to, I guess my iPad was like, I don't actually feel like continuing to record this, so we're just going to stop. So you're going to see a cut here pretty soon. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, you guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got something out of it. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.